This is a show about facing fear, unlocking courage, and taking action.
Courage isn't necessarily a daunting thing.
It's going to give you more purpose. It's going to give you more drive.
It feels like making a courageous decision is going to get you closer to who you aspire to be.
It's knowledge plus faith plus action equals courage.
That's how the brand was started, with a mission to do good, to be different, to help out the artisans, to partner with different charities, to make donations, to create an impact and make a change. The brand was always started with that mission. So it's pretty amazing every time we see the numbers that we're doing for these charities.
So, 12 years old, if I'm getting this right, correct? Happy birthday. Can you believe you guys are, can you believe you're 12? Like, does it feel like a blink or does it feel like forever?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, we've been doing it for over 12 years now. And it's been quite the ride. We started the brand from my bedroom floor in Pacific Beach with me and my business partner, Paul. Went on a surf trip in Costa Rica. I met these two guys on the beach named Jorge and Joaquin, and then brought the bracelets back to San Diego, where we, put them online, cold called surf stores, door knocked, gift stores, did whatever we could just to get the product in people's hands. And then we kind of went back to our roots, where we just graduated from San Diego State University. And, we hit up our contacts in the Greek system. The fraternities, the sororities made little announcements in their chapter rooms during their meetings, and had our computers out and told people the story, gave them a free bracelet in exchange for a like on our Facebook fan page, which sounds like a long time ago, right? Facebook fan page, seeing that big thumb up for a like. And yeah, that was just our goal, get as many impressions and customers as possible, until we attended our first trade show, where we had a little booth at a trade show called Magic Project Show in Vegas. And my dad had a connection there. So it was actually his friend's booth, and he gave us access to put our bracelet stand just on the edge table of my dad's friend's booth. And the guy ended up getting so frustrated with us, because we had so many customers coming to see what Pura Vida was all about, that it was just chaos. And we were selling so many bracelets, opening up so many new accounts. And my dad's friend was like, all right, I'm over this. Like, you guys take the booth. And it was our booth at the end of that show, which is pretty funny.
What was he selling? What was his booth?
He was just selling like clothes, just some apparel brand, and all the clothes were kind of on the wall in cubbies and stuff. And we just had a braceletry that was maybe 6 inches deep and 12 inches wide. And we had one person standing there. And I don't know what happened, but we were running around the trade show, passing out bracelets to all the brands, all the booths, saying, come by for more, blah, blah, blah. And really just created this buzz. And I don't know, it brought buyers into the store. So then it kind of opened us up pretty quickly to be selling in like 50 stores after that first show, while we were still going around to the sororities and fraternities, passing out bracelets at the beach, in our hometown, or in our college town that we just graduated from, Pacific Beach. And we just kept the foot on the gas. The first year we did $750K from my bedroom floor, got our first office down the street, 4 employees. We hired our best friend Jared and Paul's sister Erin. Those were our first 2 big hires. And then from there, it was just, getting people to fulfill, pack the orders, customer service, basic stuff for e-commerce. And then we started working with influencers, and the brand really just skyrocketed from there.
Griffin, so I think I read somewhere September 29th is the actual official birthday, but you guys did 5 weeks in Costa Rica while you were still in college. So was it like you spent the summer, like you obviously came back to the schools and you graduated and then hit like
Yes, it was our college graduation trip.
Okay.
So we graduated college and then went to Costa Rica for a celebration of the culmination of college.
I mean, was there any point, I mean, again, it's 12 years ago, so like how can you, and you're in Costa Rica, but like any part of you that was like, what the heck are we going to do now?
Yeah. I mean, I think in our heads, we were just like, if this doesn't take off, then we'll just polish off our resumes and go find a real job. We didn't really want to do that. We both knew that being an entrepreneur was something we've always wanted to do and happened kind of naturally to us. And we've always been, leaders, in our college and our social circles and our fraternity lives. So to kind of come up with an idea like Pura Vida so authentically, so organically, like we just used our skills to kind of turn it into a brand.
I always say market the creature, not the feature, right? And really, I don't think you've ever been selling bracelets. You've been selling a belief, like a way of life. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, I mean, we've always kind of felt that way. It was always creating the brand first and selling the product second. It's creating a lifestyle through the bracelets, through all the products that we make and the people that we work with and the visuals and the imagery and the social media, the way that you walk into our retail stores and our trade show booths, you're just like wowed by color, by happiness, by cheerfulness, by smiles. Just a really feel good environment is what Pura Vida means. And ever since day one, that's been our goal. And if you look at our branding and marketing now, it's still the same way.
And I feel like we kind of jump right in. So I'm going to pretend that this is the open here. I mean, you guys took a $200 investment and you turned it into a $130 million company, and amazing execution. Like you said, there's a true, like, looking for the emotion, looking for the smiles, looking for the color. I think I read somewhere you've sold over 28 million bracelets, 2,500 different bracelet styles,
Yep.
designed over 11,000 products. I mean, what do you have in store for the next decade?
Yeah. I mean, it's a big milestone, just got to keep creating, nothing too crazy. Just got to keep our eye on the prize, continuing to maximize what we're doing with our 5 retail stores, continue to be creative, work with top talent, continue to be authentic, telling a good story, donating to the dozens of charities that we work with and support, being real, being authentic, and just really just being a brand that people want to be a part of.
So can you share with me your role in the company? Like like between you and Paul, like what's the breakdown and responsibilities?
Yeah, so we did rock paper scissors at the way beginning just to see who was like CEO or CFO, and I won. So I guess I'm the CEO and he's the CFO. But
Was it two out
there's
of
really been
three? Was
no.
it 2 out of 3 at least, or was it just one
It,
time out of the gate?
it was. I think it was 2 out of 3. But
Okay.
either way, there's no seniority between us. We've always been sharing the hat of kind of like the leader of the organization, where I focus more on marketing and he focused more on finance and operations and kind of setting up like the structure of the business, where I would always focus on the social media, the website, the design, the email marketing, and just like the more creative vision of the brand.
And today, are you still in that space? Do you still love what you're doing? I mean, maybe that seems like a silly question, but like you have been doing it for 12 years now.
Yeah, I mean, sitting at my desk right now talking to you.
So there's the answer.
Yeah.
Well, where do you think like companies, I mean, like there's been a lot of companies that have come and gone. And I do think that love matters. Like I think when you love what you do, it shows and it ends up in the product. Like what advice would you have for any, whether it's fashion or just a brand? If someone's listening, they're building a brand. Give me like the 3 pieces of advice you would give them.
I think finding a product that's higher value to start with, just because digital marketing is so expensive that, selling products like Pura Vida that are $5 to $10, sometimes that marketing spend gets a little bit difficult. So I would say a price point of something that's maybe $100 or more per item. I would also say you really want to open up a retail store and focus on wholesale right off the bat. Just that like 3-prong multi-channel approach from day one, and just kind of be aware of the surroundings, right? E-com is a lot more challenging. Influencers are more expensive. Cost of goods are higher. Wages are higher. There's more challenges than ever to start a brand right now. And I don't know if Pura Vida selling $5 bracelets would have been able to survive starting out right now. So sometimes brands are meant to start when they started and not always in the current situation. So I think that we had a mix of luck and a mix of creativity and a mix of timing, all 3 of those. We started the brand when Facebook was the thing and no one had Instagram. It didn't exist yet. We also started the brand when mobile shopping was not even a thing. It was all about buying on your laptop. So you got to think like we started the brand in a completely different generation, which is crazy. And we also started the brand when our organic reach was at 100% on our Facebook fan page. So, you flip that on its head when organic reach is basically 1% instead of 100, and now you're focusing on Instagram and TikTok. It's a completely different business model than it was when we started. So I think that brands need to realize what they're jumping into. And I think now it's about being a personality, very founder focused, having your face on the screen so people can see you and listen to you and talk to you and trust you and engage. I think that's really important, as opposed to just spending a bunch of money on Facebook ads and trying to, become profitable off that model and then raise more capital and try to get a big valuation. That's kind of the pre-iOS model.
So how grateful are you that you guys were sort of founded a decade ago? I mean, just the fact that you went to college back then and then off you go versus if you launched today.
Yeah, I mean, it's timing. It's a completely different model. I think that we're very fortunate that we launched when we did, and we created a brand that really fit a niche and serviced our customers in a time where affordability mattered and the cost of acquisition was much lower and there wasn't a lot of competition in the marketplace. We were the only bracelet brand then. Now there's other bracelet brands. Now a lot of retail stores sell bracelets. So it's just the cycle.
You said it, like there wasn't any Instagram. I mean, there wasn't any Shopify. I'm pretty sure it was a WordPress site at first, correct?
Yeah, we were on Magento and it crashed when we had a big sale, and then we had to get all these developers overseas who only knew the Magento code. I mean, it was a disaster. And now, it's much easier to run a Shopify store.
So, this being a show about courage, I got to ask, like, as you think about, okay, let's say September 29th, 12 years from now pops around, as you sort of stroll into your 25th anniversary, knock on wood, hopefully, what does Pura Vida look like that you can share?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll even out on its like retail distribution and where people are buying the products from. I think our retail stores right now we have 5. I think that could grow to 20, in our major markets. Amazon will become a bigger player than it is now, naturally, because our customers are shopping there. It's a much easier process than it is shopping on e-commerce sites. So for spending less on digital ads, then more people are just going to be spending more time and buying from brands through Amazon naturally. So I see Amazon becoming a bigger piece of the pie, retail stores becoming a bigger piece of the pie, and then I see e-commerce and wholesale kind of staying where they are, or maybe finding some growth if there's a different strategy.
So let's say, I'm just curious, like, what a day in the life is like for you. So if there's like a pie chart of the 24 hours of your day, how does it get broken down for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think with work, it's just coming into the office or working from home, mixing it up. I deal with my team, work with them, creative team especially, whether it's talking about new campaigns, the visual identity of the brand, what new things we have coming up, what influencers we want to work with, what are some big campaigns that we have, changes to the website, what we're doing in office, what events we have coming up, how we're going to continue to build the brand ambassador program. I would say anything that has to do with the end user looking at the brand and customer facing, approving assets for the retail stores, stuff like that.
And if there's, again, fear and courage are brothers, right? So is there like a big fear that keeps you up at night, or, as the business continues to evolve or change, is there anything that you're like, okay, we've got to crack this nut. This is the one thing that I'm absolutely terrified about.
I mean, I think there's still fear and uncertainty with like inflation and consumer spending. We're selling lower priced items, so I think that the people that are buying the products might be more sensitive to higher costs in the marketplace or food and rent and some of these things that have just gotten to be pretty high and unaffordable over the past year or so. I would say that's a fear. I think we really need to figure out how to like crack the TikTok code, which we really just smashed out of the park with Instagram. We were the first brand in our space to hit 1 million followers, then 2 million followers. Like no one was even remotely close to us. Like we just blew past everyone. And with TikTok, we haven't. So I think that that's something that doesn't keep me up at night, but it definitely is something like, hey, how do we do this? Because we haven't done it yet.
It's pretty cool to see how much revenue you've given back to charities or, meals to feed America. Like when you think about what you've done for others, is that like a pinch me moment? Did it always feel that way? If it did, yeah, I have one of my little side projects is called Sock Problems. And like every sock's a different problem in the world, and each sock has a different charity partner on it. And I remember thinking, how awesome could it be if you could create this win-win-win right? Where it's like consumer gets what they want, charity gets what they want. You're supporting these causes. Is it still like a pinch me moment when you think about how much of an impact you've made?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty amazing every time we do like the quarterly updates and see the numbers that we're doing for these charities. I mean it's pretty awesome. And that's how the brand was started. The brand was started with a mission to do good, to be different, to help out the artisans, to partner with different charities, to make donations, to create an impact and make a change. So the brand was always started with that mission. So to me, it's always kind of been like that.
Did you always have the entrepreneur bug?
Yes, before Pura Vida, I had three other businesses in high school and college.
Can you share? Do you mind sharing them?
Yeah, first business that I did was I was selling stuff on eBay in my bedroom, just like random things that I found at the swap meet with my dad when I was 17. I used his social security number to basically have an eBay account because I couldn't get one yet because I wasn't 18. And then I started to sell these like little cars and these little candles and stuff. And then one day my dad walked in and like he's like, "Why is everything in your room kind of gone except your bed?" So I told him I was selling stuff on eBay, and then I found someone that was selling cell phones, like used cell phones on eBay. And I asked him if I could buy a couple. And then I bought a couple and I marketed the ad better than he did. So I sold them pretty quickly. So then I asked him if I could buy a couple more. And I ended up selling, I think maybe 5 phones a day on eBay with like a margin of like $20 for all of my senior year of high school. So if you do the math, it's a pretty substantial profit that I made that last year of high school. Then from there, went to college with a good amount of cash that I earned from that eBay business. And when I was in the fraternity, I started doing graphic design for the Greek system t-shirts, hoodies for the sororities and fraternities. Started buying hundreds of t-shirts, selling them at a margin. And then, you can do the math there, dozens of sororities every semester and fraternities. Then from there, when I turned 21, I moved to PB. I realized that there was a niche for the knowledge of happy hours because when you're 21, you want to save a buck or two when you go out with your friends. So I made a list of all the bars and restaurants in PB, created a website for them that changed daily with the specials, had all the bars pay me every month to keep the specials up to date and fresh. And then on the weekends, I would host events at each of the bars and restaurants that would pay a fee per person that walked in.
I mean, first of all, wow. I mean, it's pretty awesome. All the things that you've been able to just accomplish. And I'm assuming you see yourself as a pretty curious guy.
Yeah, I feel like I'm curious. I ask a lot of questions. I think I always like to find a creative way to make things easier or better in like a social environment that I'm in. Whether it's just with my friends or whether it's, you know, hosting someone's birthday or whether it's making a fun event on the weekend. I feel like I'm kind of always that person and I enjoy it. And I think it just really shows that like I have I have a big interest in the community and making things fun and engaging and just making sure everyone has a good time. So whether that is with a business or personal, that's kind of been always my personality.
I mean, have you had a chance to like look behind the curtain of other C suites and how they establish themselves and what those teams look like? Because where I'm going on this is, and this is good for the listener because you and I have never met before. This is like the first time we've had a conversation. And so the way that we describe courageous is three levers. There has to be knowledge, there has to be faith, and there has to be action. And you need all three. So we have a knowledge gathering team, which is the think side of our business. We've got a faith building team, which is the feel side of our business. And then we've got an action taking side of our team, which is the do. So there's the think team, the feel team, and the do team. But when you see most C suites, it's like 90% think, 80% think, 20% do, and like feel got left off the table completely. And like the way you talk about creativity, I wish people could see me like nodding my head. Why do so many teams miss this part? Like, why is it getting left off the table? Or are you seeing something different? And you're like, actually, Ryan, I don't see it that way.
I don't know. I mean, I think it just kind of has to come natural to the founder. Some founders are born into tech and data or finance, or some founders are just really good public speakers and good at raising money and making that kind of their narrative. But I feel like for me it's always been creative, energetic, fun community, and just really creating a vibe, whether it's the culture on Instagram or the culture with my friends on the weekends.
Can you turn it off?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's kind of just my personality. But when I'm on, I'm on, and when I'm tired and not engaged in something, then my true colors will show. You know.
As a creative person, do you feel like, and as an entrepreneur, you're like, I know the next 2 or 3 businesses I want to start? Or are you like, no, I'm pretty laser focused on like what I need to do for Pura Vida?
No, I kind of think I'm just living in the moment and doing in the moment. I'm not a big planner. I kind of just like where I'm at right now.
That's not a terrible place to be.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, as he's smiling, I'm assuming you're happy with how this has all turned out so far.
Yeah. Yeah. No complaints.
Do you think that at some point you will, like, is San Diego your home now, or do you feel like you're still an LA guy who happens to live in San Diego?
No, I've been here for like 15 years now, and I have a place here and a place up in Santa Monica, so I kind of go back and forth.
So my dirty little secret is that I was in New York forever. I thought this was like a stopping ground to LA. You know, I thought I was going to come here and write movies from the beach. Never meant to like live a movie, which is how it's felt for me a little bit. But I absolutely love it here. Like I find like it's like the best kept secret. And still, when you say San Diego to people, it doesn't register for them. Like they're like, oh yeah, let's maybe I'll go visit. But it's like in the shadow of LA versus like a place that people want to live at.
Yeah, I mean it's just very different. You know, I definitely spent a lot of time in LA, probably like a third, a third of the month in LA and 2/3 here. I think LA offers a little bit more liveliness and, you know, kind of like that upbeat vibe, a little bit of a city vibe, kind of like a New York, but by the beach. And then to me, San Diego is very chill, very laid back, very nice, no traffic, easy, convenient, could walk everywhere, don't have to worry about crime or anything. It's pretty mellow.
Did you ever have any mentors that you turned to, or did you sort of just have to figure it out?
Yeah, I mean, I actually just had lunch with my mentor. Just came from lunch with him. Yeah, he was my senior year marketing professor at San Diego State, and he actually he and I connected because he sold a business and then retired for 6 years and then became a professor at San Diego State because he was bored. And I was in his class, and basically we just had a great connection and became friends. And he ended up going to my graduation dinner, and that was right when I graduated college, and I just had lunch with him an hour ago. So
Oh, who
he's
is
been
it?
a part, Stephen Osinski.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
So yeah, he's been, you know, a mentor. You could call it business, personal, family, whatever. But he's always been a good coach because he went through starting a business, selling a business, retiring, getting married, having kids. So he's a good role model. You know.
Are you in the getting married, have kid? Are you any kids or married or not there yet?
No, not right now.
The business is the baby.
Yeah.
Does it feel like a baby? Does it feel like, or does it like if the brand was, how old would the brand be? I know you said it's 12, but like in your mind, where is it? Is it a teenager? Is it in college years? Where do you think the brand is?
I don't know. I never thought about it like that. I think the brand is it's kind of like how we started it out to be. Just it's always evolving, but I think that our kind of core customer and demographic and branding style is consistent to how it began.
You can totally olay this question if you want, but I'm just very curious. Like, in your mind, do you see the brand staying independent forever? Or is it something that you think at some point you'd sell? Um, and if yes, what do you hope? Like, okay, let's say you did sell it. What do you like? You're like, if you do anything, if you get one thing right with the brand, make sure you blank. What's the answer there?
So we did get acquired 3.5 years ago.
Oh, there's the answer. Okay, great.
Yeah,
How's that been?
it's been good. It's been you know, a fun ride. You know, we've been with the parent company for 3.5 years now, and it's kind of been a merge of our brand and their brand, and you know, keeping the culture separate, but migrating some of our like systems and accounting and logistics and legal and stuff like that kind of onto their platform.
And in your mind, why were they the right fit?
Well, we spent like a year interviewing partners. We had 25 meetings with different buyers, and we had 7 offers. And then we had 2 companies kind of come back and forth with offers. And we decided to go with a company called Vera Bradley because they were, founder started, by two best friends, two women best friends, and they created a handbag out of passion, and it ended up becoming a very big sensation when they started the business, and ended up going public for like $1 billion+ valuation, and they had a really great experience with it. So after meeting with them, amongst all the other private equity firms that we interviewed, we felt that they were a good fit culture wise, and they're big in donating to charity, and it was started by two best friends, and it just felt like a really good fit.
Is there like one big takeaway that you've had since you've started working with them?
I mean, they helped us open up 5 retail stores, which I don't think we could have done on our own. They've definitely, helped us become a little bit more streamlined and organized, and, helped us open up some big key accounts on the wholesale side. So they've definitely, helped with some of that stuff, but they kept ecom separate, kept our marketing and branding separate. So, it's kind of what happens when there's like a purchase or acquisition. They want to bring in some of the nuts and bolts into their business.
As we kind of come to a close here, I'm curious if you're mentoring anybody right now.
I have some friends that I talk to about their businesses. I mean, I don't really give it like an official mentorship, but I'm kind of an access point for them with like questions, or what they need help with, or a problem they have. They just email me and I send them the answer like in a second, just because I'm passionate about entrepreneurship and problem solving. And a business like us, we've seen a lot of things come our way to get to the size that we are, and we've overcome a lot of challenges. And I'm not saying we know every answer by any means, but we definitely know a lot for e-commerce startups.
As you think back to the last 12 years, is there a moment where you're like, wow, that was actually really courageous of us to do X, Y, or Z? Is there like, let's say there's a podium, a gold, silver, and a bronze moment of courage. Do you know them off the top of your head, or is there like one major courageous moment that you would turn to?
I mean, I think maybe a courageous moment was when we told our team that we were getting acquired by a bigger company. I think that was really difficult to overcome, just because it's been the Paul and Griff show for so long, for 8.5 years, right? And then 3.5 years ago, we got acquired, and we had to make an announcement to our team, and it was courageous. It was tough. It was, we were scared. We had a pit in our stomach the night before. How are we going to make this announcement? Is everyone going to leave? Blah, blah, blah. Like there was a lot of fear, and we told them, why we did it, and the passion behind it, and the reasoning, and we overcame it. And I think we made a great move, and we're happy we did it.
Did anybody bail on you guys?
No one bailed.
It's pretty awesome. I mean, like what I can sense from this, and again, first time you and I have ever chatted, is like what I really appreciate is how real you are. I mean, I think keeping it authentic and just sort of telling you like it is, it's nice to see that. And you don't always see that with founders and entrepreneurs. So, man, keep doing what you're doing. I mean, it's amazing to watch the brand grow. And also, like, you're helping, like I said, the artisans. I think I've read over 800 artisans that you've worked with, sold over 28 million bracelets. All right, I've got one more for you. So, if you weren't doing this, or when you choose not to do this, do you follow in your mentor's footsteps and teach entrepreneurship? Do you go to the beach with the book? We're so close. What do you do?
No, I don't think I would go to the beach with a book. I think I would just see the next opportunity that comes my way, provide value where I see fits, get involved with a small startup, or guide two founders or coach them, or just find an area that I'm interested in and either consult or help. But I think I could provide feedback to startups from like a knowledge point of view, but also just kind of like a high level creative point of view as well.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, Griff. Appreciate you.
Of course. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Courageous Podcast. If you enjoy the show, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts so more people can find us. See you again next week.